Let's get rolling.
All right, you want to get into some US?
To just get to UFC. Um, Fight night, we had Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. It was a highly anticipated bout. Obviously, Tsarukyan was the first time seeing him back after he pulled out the night before event with Islam Makhachev. Hanato Moicano ended up taking his spot and taking that quick L. Islam Makhachev obviously now is the two division welterweight champ now at the division above, staying behind. It was hit up against Dan Hooker, which ended up in it was pretty much a one-sided fight. Ended up in a sub. A lot of people saw it going this way. Um, Dan Hooker, he's a real hard-nosed, great striker. He's a veteran in the game. See him succeed, but anytime he gets in these high-level matchups, top five opponent, a day if anyone's going to be able to take him down, that's pretty much that's it for him. I mean, the feet he can stand with the best, and even on the feet, Armin Sarukian was touching him up the whole fight, and ultimately at round that was it. So um, you wanted to see a little more back and forth in that main event, but ultimately Armin Sarukian is just too good, too much for. So it's interesting to see if he gets that next title shot.
Yeah, I hate that I missed it. That's the unfortunate thing when you're a newbie in UFC. You don't always remember the time zones, and Dubai is where
For
I think
sure.
they played in Dubai, but
Yeah, I was in Qatar.
Qatar. Okay, that's right. They're in a completely opposite side of the world, so normally the fights are at nighttime here,
Mm-hmm.
and that wasn't the case. It was, I think, around noon, and I just
Yep,
completely missed it. But also, Oregon was playing at that time too, so I got to watch the Ducks.
that'll do it
Yeah, but
for one. Um, but yeah, it was a good one all around. I mean, besides the main event, Ian Machado Gary taking the win over former champion Bilal Muhammad. This was a high low. I mean, again, you were looking for something a little more closer. It was a good scrap, but at the end of the day, through. Um, Again, we've only seen him lose once to Shavkat Rakhmonov. So we're gonna see. I mean, that division is stacked right now. Hamzav is the current champion. We saw after Arman Sarukian win, Ian Machado Gary went to congratulate him, and of course the champ is in Sarukian's corner. So that's Hamzat Chimaev is in the corner, and they're in the back of the stadium after the fights, and they run into each other in the hallway. There's a viral video going around. Ion Machado Gary tries to congratulate Arman Sarukian. He does that. And it's a really awkward back and forth. Hamzat. He goes to Hamzat, says, hey, good to see you. How you doing? Pretty much. He's being really respectful, and Hamzat's just kind of like, he's being nice, but it's like a fake being nice. And then Ian Gary goes to turn away, and pats Hamzat on the shoulder, and then Hamzat like smacks Ian Gary on the back really hard 5 times or like 3 times, and you can kind of see it's like passive aggressive. And then after that, Ian Gary kind of starts to walk away, and then Hamzat says something. Ian Gary turns around, and they have this big back and forth, and people are holding them back. And really, it's just interesting, you know. Ian Gary gets a lot of hate, but to see Hamzat Chimaev kind of be the aggressor and kind of start something when someone's be champion, a role model for the sport at this point, and kind of just being more humble. But at this point, I mean, you have to have a edge to you, especially to be a world championship fighter. So you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he needs to kind of try and put fear in these guys' hearts to not even want to step foot in the ring with him. So what do I know? But I definitely thought it was really interesting.
maybe he's just a jackass.
Yeah, well, that was my again. Um, Whatever he's doing, it's obviously working. He's got that gold wrapped around his waist, so he shouldn't take my advice.
Yeah, he would kill my ass, that's for sure. Maybe it's just trying to build some publicity, you know. build some pressure, some
Yeah,
tension.
if that's what he is doing, it's working. Hmm. So it's gonna be really good. I mean, obviously, I think Shavkat Rakhmonov, he has that win over Ian Gary, so you know that one's gonna be next. But obviously, if Hamzat's able to pull it off, that Ian Gary Rakhmonov fight was so close. So it's two really good matchups for Hamzat moving forward. Whoever takes that win, you'd think is gonna get Ian Gary next. And again, that division is just stacked, so it's gonna be really, really good to look forward to.
What division is that?
That is the welterweight division.
Welterweight. Okay. Also, how does fight night work? Is that like a precursor to these cards?
But pretty much pay-per-views once a month and fight nights are pretty much just any um unless it's what is it? UFC Noche. It's still technically a fight night, but that's the only one that has a different title.
Okay. I was thinking like cuz I'm new to this, like fight night. I don't know if,
Hmm.
how you do in fight night or if you win a fight night, that would determine if you get to get into UFC cards or get in discussions or whatnot because I have no idea how any of that stuff works.
No, pretty much it's all based off. Um, if you're in the top five, I mean, if you're number five fighting number one, and number five wins, typically number five is going to be ranked number one, no matter if you're four spots behind. I mean, it's pretty much based off rankings. So, but in the UFC, you see sometimes, like recently, we had Alex Pereira fight in the championship earlier or later last year against number seven ranked, eighth ranked Khalil Roundtree. So it's not saying that if you're in the top five, you have no chance of getting a championship bout. It just kind of depends on how these fights play out and where the division is kind of sitting at the time.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I saw my
Because you
first.
got to think, injuries go into it. Sorry about that, but injuries go into it. Coaching, scheduling, like there's a lot. So you try to get the best fighting the best all the time, but ultimately the timing has to work out. So you kind of sometimes you'll have 11 versus number three, stuff like that. So there really is no set standard. You just try your best to kind of have the best fight the best, and also have these new up and comers have chances to move up in the rankings as well.
Okay. I'm going to have to do a lot more research on that for sure. I saw my first Paramount UFC commercial coming in January. Do you know when we will get a schedule or when do schedules
Love it.
usually release?
There is no schedule, so typically they like to list a card or tell you what fights are going to be expected about 3 months before. Sometimes it'll be earlier if it's a really big fight, like if it's a John Jones fight, they'll kind of schedule that 5 to 6 months ahead and let you know so that anticipation can kind of build. Definitely with the bigger stars, but for the fight nights and stuff like that, 2 months, 3 months ahead, they like to give guys a full 8 weeks, 2 months training at three. We've had like more in recent times, like not finding out what the main event is until like 2 months before, something like that. And these people are buying pay per views and stuff, not knowing the main event. I mean, that doesn't happen often, but it's happened once or twice last year. So, like I said, it just kind of plays out. They try to get these fights scheduled far enough ahead of time to sell tickets and build anticipation, fill up the arena. But again, sometimes things don't just work out like that.
Yeah. I think a couple weeks ago I got debated. There was this UFC page on Facebook and it had like and then it had this pictograph of all the big name fighters and it was for the White House card. And my initial reaction was like, "Oh shit, this is going to be loaded. Like this is awesome." And then I looked at the comments and it was like, "Yeah, we wish, bro." I'm like, "Dang. I just got baited."
Um, the fights scheduling kind of being up in the air some of the times, as the fans like to suggest. But at the same time, a lot of those fan suggestions end up coming to fruition. So that's the cool thing about the UFC that differs from boxing. You really feel like they try to listen to the fan base, at least at times, and give them what they want. So that's one thing I love about UFC versus boxing is boxing you see a lot of them fight take these easy fights until it kind of comes to a head and they fight at their peak, they lose a couple times and then they're done. UFC, where it differs is these guys are fighting the best of the best all the way throughout their career. And then it just makes it all the much more impressive. Like, just imagine, like, you saw that Devin Haney Ryan Garcia fight, but imagine them fighting those same level caliber of fighters every single time they step into that ring. It's just completely different style organization. That's just what I really love about it. That competitiveness is always at a 10.
Yeah. I'm definitely getting really big on the UFC. Just everything about it, and there's so much to learn also, and so much to appreciate. And I'm also looking forward to the Paramount subscription of $10 a month instead of paying $80 a month, maybe twice a month sometimes for pay-per-view.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But they're moving past that now, so really exciting.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Thank you, Dana.
Oh man, that's pretty much it. I mean, there were some other good fights. Oral By had a really big win, but that's pretty much it. The fight nights back in the day they used to be pretty stacked, but now they're doing them pretty much every week. I mean, you have 4 or 5 really good fights, and uh, yeah, I think we're ready to go ahead and step back into the NFL. I mean, those are our big things we wanted to start off with. Um, what else did you want to touch on?
Well, the head coach for the Houston Texans, D'Amico, his mentality. I mean, he's a defensive coach. He came from San Francisco from being a DC, I believe it was a
Yeah.
DC or a linebackers coach. So he's all about defense, and his mantra, his slogan is just it's swarm, and we saw a lot of swarming on Thursday. So that has just been it's finally coming to fruition. We always knew our defense was a top 5 unit. They're actually the number 1 ranked defense in the league this year, and it's just every week is getting better and better and better and better. And now finally our offense is clicking. Offense is clicking with Davis. I mean, I love Davis, but he's no CJ, and we're getting CJ back this week against the Colts. Division game, a division rival. I absolutely hate the Colts. I do not like them. I'm so glad they lost to the Chiefs today, which is saying a lot because I don't like the Chiefs either. But yeah, I am a slightly bigger believer in us reaching the playoffs and maybe winning a game or two in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see CJ Stroud gets back in there to see now that it seems like the pieces around him have kind of come together and galvanized to see if he can really take it and run with it throughout the rest of the season. So, I mean, to kind of go around the NFL, you touched on the Chiefs. They were able to pull it out in overtime with a field goal over the Colts. But as long as we're homering it up, I got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Even if they are 5-1, I've got to say I was super surprised to see 0 with 2 minutes and 24 seconds left in the second half. They didn't score a touchdown until 21 seconds left in the second half, and they were able to shut them out throughout the second. So they ended up winning won. Um, so really, what does it mean for them? Most likely, absolutely. But it is interesting to see. I mean, I just gotta say that, like I said, we see a lot of these what seems like teams that are kind of riding on top fall to L this week. So, like I said previously, it's anyone's game this year in the NFL. So,
Yeah, something weird is going on in Philly, and I feel like it's a ticking time bomb. We've seen the signs throughout the year of players not happy with what their roles have been, particularly AJ. He is a all-star player, a Pro Bowl player. When he gets the ball and he has felt like he hasn't got the ball, he got the ball tonight. But yeah, he threw some shade at a teammate last week, Saquon, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I think, yeah, the Eagles are what 8-3 now. But I think, things are kind of turning around in the wrong direction for them. It just he's got to figure it out because that team, I mean, it feels like they're going at each other's heads.
yeah, for sure. And it's not something you want to see, especially coming off of a Super Bowl. But unless you're the Chiefs, that is kind of what happens. It's really hard to see them get back into the Super Bowl winning team, go right back to back, not just win the Super Bowl again, but even get back to that main stage. So, if any one team was built to do it, I'd say it's the Eagles. I mean, they still have all of those pieces. Even Brandon Graham. I mean, even brought that guy back. Um, but Jalen Hurts, Smith, AJ Brown, Cooper. I mean, you can keep going. Johnson, um, Jordan Mailata, Jordan Davis, and literally that is just scraping. I mean, I didn't even say Saquon Barkley. So if there's anyone and just go on a roll all the way to the Super Bowl, it is the Eagles. But like you said, it's like they can't even get out of their own way. So I mean, that's been the trend, right? Even last year, you had spurts of AJ Brown complaining on the sideline in the media, and then at one point in the season, started reading a book on the sideline, and just they started rolling. So maybe about this time is where he pulls out that book again and starts getting centering himself and figuring it out. But again, only time will tell.
I think that book was called Menace Mania because since then he's doing devious work, bro. Calling out
Yeah,
teammates and everything.
I mean, like you said, they can't get out of their own way, but
Yeah,
I love to see it again. I'm a Cowboys fan, so as much as I can see them self destruct, I mean, I can't get enough of it. So
yeah. And here's my hot take: AJ Brown will not be an Eagle next year. I'm
yeah, I
thinking,
can definitely see that, especially with Howie Roseman. He knows how to shuffle the deck, right? So I mean, that's going to be a high value piece. He's at a trade. Still have a good piece. Still have a good Devontae Smith. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see that happen. I mean, it's interesting. Like I said, Howie Roseman, he's going to make some moves for sure. You just never know what he's got up his sleeve.
who's going to be knocking on the door next year? The Patriots, because Mike Vrabel's up there and he drafted AJ, and they need a receiver, 100%
Hmm.
up there. So that's my hot take. That's what I think will happen next year.
For sure, it's almost like the Patriots have gone a couple seasons now without a really good wide receiver. I mean, they tried to hit with N'Keal Harry in the draft a couple of years ago, and it just really didn't happen. So, Stephon Diggs really is the out there in a minute. Um, so it would be really nice to see Drake May get a really good piece out there. With Stephon Diggs, he's still got some ability, but he's definitely Minnesota. Um, Even with him at the Texans, he is he's definitely still producing, but I think you can definitely see a difference in his gameplay, his style, and maybe even a couple of distractions off the field. But I will say Drake May does a really good job of setting his guys up, putting the ball in the right spots. So it's going to be really nice to see him get another All Star piece out there. If Mike Rabel and his higher management are able to make it happen, if he was able to have AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, both on the outside, I mean that would be something to see for sure.
Oh yeah, that would be dangerous. That would turn them into a juggernaut for sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want to see it,
Oh, I don't.
but it would be something to see for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want that in the AFC. Another funny moment.
What do you think? You want it ready to move over to? Oh, go ahead.
Another funny moment. I'm sure you were aware of Pickens and CD being sat out the first drive last week.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely caught that. Definitely heard the stories of CD puking at 7 a.m. in a casino. So it's interesting again. You don't know what's all true these days. Um, but again, is someone really going and saying, "Hey, I saw CD throwing up at a casino at 7 a.m." If they didn't, it's pretty a random thing to report,
Oh, it's really random. And
especially when it lines up with him being set out.
the best part was CD not defending that he wasn't at a casino drinking. It was the fact that whoever reported it or saw them said that he was puking. Because according to CD, he can hold his liquor. So that's what he said was disrespectful. He can hold his liquor.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I mean, a lot of talk was going around, is it concerning? I don't know how concerning it is when obviously you'd like to see your superstars kind of like remain focused and whatnot, but I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I don't know what else to say. I'm kind of just demoralized. I'm ready just for next year to start already, reshuffle the team. I mean, sell the pieces, do whatever you got to do. I want to keep Pickens. I want to keep CD out, but until you get someone on the other side on that defense, is pretty much this is what it's going to be. So if I was CD and I watch that defense practice every practice, I might end up in the casino puking at 7 a.m. as well. So I mean, I can't blame him too much.
No, not at all. One thing that almost had me puking yesterday was in the Oregon USC game. I don't think I've seen a game that was more penalized. I've never seen so many yellow flags in my life. There was 19 flags combined between the two teams. Oregon had 11 penalties, 130 yards, 130 penalty yards. USC had 8 penalties, 103 penalty yards. I mean, good God. That was miserable every time. Every time I turned my head away and turned right back to the TV, there's a yellow flag being thrown. So the refs weren't playing around yesterday. Some of the calls made sense. Some calls against us made sense. Some calls against UFC made sense. USC, my bad. You just hate to see penalty games like that. You don't see them very often, but when you do, it's as a fan, you want to yell and scream obscenities to the refs when they have a game like that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it messes up the whole rhythm. Obviously, you want the refs to kind of let it play. Um, and really, sometimes it just kind of depends on the officiating. Get those crews. 105 through the fan, Brian Broaddus on there, he does a really good job of before the Cowboys game. He goes over the referee crew, how many flags per game they're averaging, and what kind of calls they're calling. And really, it's interesting to see because once you hear that, you see that play out during the game. So if they're high penalty, high flag throwing officiating squad, tend to see those more flags, calls, more offensive pass interference, defensive pass interference, that kind of stuff. So I really think people should pay more attention to that because it really in your head you can be thinking, man, they just not on it today. They're just so out of whack when really that officiating crew just might be just that much more diligent at catching these things, and this is a more normal week to week game for these guys, and it's just the officiating crew. So I really don't think people know how much those guys play, not only on the viewership, but the actual outcome of the game gets affected by it.
That's a great point. In coaching, we always tell the kids, adapt to the refs, especially in basketball, because sometimes refs aren't going to call nothing, and other times they're going to be really strict on the rules and on the calls. So just being able to adapt to the refs is a great point, and researching them, seeing what kind of penalties they call, how many penalties they throw a game, because they do have a lot of impact on how the game goes. So yeah, that's a great point. I love that.
Yeah. Um. So anything else you wanted to touch on in the NFL, or we ready to move on?
I'm ready. I'm a happy camper. It's been a great football weekend. So let's dive into some other sports.
Yeah, no complaints for sure. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we are Rangers Nation, and last week I touched on it being the beginning of hot stove season, so free agency. We saw it coming. We could feel it coming. It just made sense. But we non-tendered Adolis Garcia and Jonah Heim. And then on top of that, tonight, we traded away Marcus Simeon. But I'm liking what we got in return for him. Brandon Nemo is a great outfielder, great hitter. Had a little bit of a down year, but I'm excited for him, man.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. The big news, obviously, is Marcus Simeon. Obviously, Adolis, Jonah Heim, all three of those guys are pieces from the championship team. You never want to see these guys go. Honestly, I thought they should have let go of Garcia last season based on performances. But obviously, here we are. You don't want to see pieces like that go. But for example, Marcus Simeon, he was just been so spotty the past 2 seasons. I think you said he's a slow starter. I mean, ultimately, he's just not producing like he was. He's getting paid like an all star. So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You got to be able to set this team up to win in the future. And I think ultimately what Chris Young is saying is that he squeezed whatever he can out of this roster. We tried, we gave the team time to recoup. Another season with Bruce Bochy, tried to run it back with all the pieces, but we couldn't stay healthy last year. Couldn't bat last year. Can't bat this year. So really, you've got to do what you got to do. And based on Chris Young's track record, you've got to think he's got something up his sleeve. So it's really exciting. He said you've got a really good piece with Nemo. He told me he's 3 years younger. So it's going to be exciting to see what the Rangers do moving forward. I mean, Chris Young is cooking up something back there.
He's in the kitchen whipping stir fry. Yeah, when I saw the notification pop up from ESPN, Jeff Passan, and it said Rangers and Mets are finalizing a deal. And I've been talking about Pete Alonso from the Mets. My heart dropped, and I just stopped everything mid eating, and I was looking. I hurried up and clicked on it. Unfortunately, it wasn't Pete Alonso, but Nemo is a great consolation prize. So the Mets fan base,
Sure, maybe it was a typo. Maybe they can clear that up.
it's a pretty big typo. But no, just to touch on what you were saying earlier, Garcia's regression since his 23 hero season for us Last year, well, that 23 season, he was batting 245. And then 2024, he was batting a 224. Then this year, he was batting a 227. So, I mean, his plate discipline is the only answer to that because he was swinging at pitches that were way outside of the zone. It just didn't have much discipline at all. And, Chris Young, like you were saying, I think he is squeezed or half squeezed all he could from that roster. As long as we don't get rid of Corey, I'm happy. Everybody else is fair game.
I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, I do like the so hopefully we can keep some of those guys. Obviously keep Corey. We're gonna get rid of, but obviously it happens. So like I said, we'll see where they go from this point. Hopefully it's moving on up.
Yeah, that makes you wonder about the pieces on the defense, right? And offense, obviously, because Simeon was our second baseman.
Yep.
So Nemo, he's an outfielder. I'm thinking he's going to take Garcia's spot.
Mhm.
Simeon, second base. So we're thinking, okay, are we going to have to go get somebody to play second base? I don't think so. We got an amazing utility man in Josh Smith. He played just about every position last year. So I see him fitting just fine at second base.
Best
So
player on the
that
team
brings
last year.
us,
Hmm.
oh yeah, by far. And he really came out of nowhere. The year before, he just popped off mid-season, and he's been crazy
Yeah.
since. Hasn't looked back since. So I see him at second base. First base, you know, Jake Berger. Good God, what kind of travesty was that this year? So maybe we'll go. That
Mm.
kind of sets us up this trade for Nemo and trading away Simeon. That kind of makes me wonder. Like you were saying, what does Chris Young have cooking up? Could we go and get those? There's two Japanese stars, Murakami and gosh, what was his name? Akamoto. They're two infield corner position players. So maybe we can go and swing for one of them. That would be awesome. I would love it.
Really sounds good. I mean, obviously Dallas, Texas sports, anything helps at this point. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. If anybody can do it, Chris Young can. He's made moves. Simeon is a big move, takes a lot of balls, and that just shows me he's not afraid to get rid of assets to acquire more, better, bigger assets. So I'm excited for next year.
For sure. If anything, it shows that he's not stagnant and is not happy to be in the same spot. So that's what you want to see. Ultimately, with your team, you don't want to see them get complacent. You don't want to see them be too patient because at the end of the day, they're just wasting everybody's time. So I'd rather see some moves being made. Obviously, if it's for the worst, then so be it. But every once in a while, you're going to hit on these trades. So, I mean, let's just keep them coming.
I'm right there with you. As long as it's, not the greatest player of our generation like the Mavs. And I'm sorry, Jason. Actually, I'm not sorry. I will continue to talk about that shit fest that happened in February until we start winning games and it looks more promising. So, yeah, take that, kid.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but egregious. Like, what else to say? Like, just ridiculous to kind of say it's time to move on. Nico Harrison's gone, whatever. Ultimately, we found out that every single coach on that staff knew about the trade before it happened. None of y'all thought to say, no, wait, maybe let's not trade the best player of our generation, possibly the best player. Potentially could have been the best player that the Mavs organization has ever seen. And I know that's a huge statement with what Dirk did, winning the toughest NBA of all time. But I mean, if there's anyone that has that potential, it's Luka Doncic. I mean, there's only two or three guys like that in the NBA. Luka, Giannis, Nikola Jokic, those kind of guys. I mean, that are just generational. So you trade that kid and then put this product on the floor with pieces that were injured that you were hoping were not going to be injured. Um, I know that's a mouthful, but it's just ridiculous to see what they're putting out on the product that they're putting out there, and to expect us to just be like, oh well, Nico Harrison's gone, so I'd be happy watching Russell brick these threes. It's just not happening for me. It's not happening for you. So I can guarantee you, it's not happening for the rest of the Mavs nation. So um, obviously the tunnel with Cooper Flag, but ultimately you've got to get some defense out there. You've got to get guys that can make shots. Clay Thompson, you've got to put this guy on the bench for him to do anything productive. So I mean, it's not looking up right now. What else can I say?
Yeah, late last week, Cooper Flag played in his 15th game with the Mavericks, which he just happened to beat Anthony Davis in how many games he's played for the Mavericks because AD has only played 14 games. 14 games for the Mavericks since February. I mean, good God. That is just the that's just a beautiful summary. Well, it's not beautiful summary. It's a horrible summary of situation in Dallas. It's sad. It's ridiculous, like you were saying, all caps. Just for the people and the big D, whoever's playing the strings and pulling the strings for the Mavericks to say, oh, we fired Nico. Let's just move on. No, we're not going to move on. We can't move on. The world doesn't work like that. It don't work like that.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it just doesn't give you. I mean, Nico Harrison's gone, but where's our leadership? Because if you're telling me we're leaning on Patrick Dumont to do anything intelligent when it comes to basketball operations, I mean, let's just burn it down now. Uh, well, what else can I say? This ownership group has nothing to do with basketball. They have no experience in this realm. So they've literally got to bring someone in that knows what they're doing, someone in, preferably, that has built a championship team before. Who's that old Golden State? Is it Bob Myers, Seth Myers? I know the last name's Myers. He put together that team, like someone like that, someone who knows what they're doing. Um, Because ultimately, I mean, what are we doing? Are we relying on Jason Kidd? And I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but we've got to do something better than this. I mean,
Yeah, I really do agree. Somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody that's competent, somebody that's a businessman because at the end of the day, it's a business. When you're making stupid moves and trades, I mean, that's just bad for business. You want to make money and you want to have a great fan base. They're not going to make much money. They lost a lot of money actually with trading away Luca. They need to figure it out. I'm hoping they figure it out. They're not going to figure it out this year. So, it's going to be a long time of sadness till then, till next season. Hopefully they can figure it out and turn it around a little bit by then. But yeah, it's just there's no hope. No hope. Rangers, you're our only hope.
yeah. And that statement right there isn't giving me too much excitement, but we'll hope for the best. Texas Rangers. Um, hey, we got one in 2023, so
Yeah.
it's possible. All right, let's keep it moving.
All right. What do you want to talk about?
I mean, yeah, I think we've made some really good progress on what's going on this week. So I think let's go ahead and move on to our triumphant moment.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm not super big in basketball. I'm starting to get back into it a little bit. I just happen to be doom scrolling a little bit the other night, and I came across a clip of the Suns down 8 with 49, 51 seconds, somewhere around there. Might as well say 50 seconds. Why not? They were down 8, under a minute left, and they were playing against the Wolves. And they came back and won the game. It was super awesome. That team just looked like they flipped a switch. They were flying around the court, grabbing loose balls. They were passing. They were working as a team. They had so much urgency. And that just, to me, that is a triumphant moment because no matter how much you're down, no matter where you're at in the moment, you can always decide in that moment to take a stand and to not give up and to just really be resilient. That's my word, is resilient. That's another way of defining triumph, and that's my triumphant moment. They came back and won. How about your triumphant moment?
To touch on the game, the Suns, I mean, it was a really good one. One thing I would say positively about this Eden season tournament is you to see some good playoff basketball. If not from to the higher playoff matchups. I mean, because this is some different energy. This isn't regular season basketball you're seeing in this tournament. So, congrats to the NBA. I know people still clown on it. People still really don't believe in it, especially after the Lakers win the first one. But I love it. I mean, it just brings another, especially with how so mmany games in the season it can kind of drag on. These guys can kind of be going through the motions, especially in the early to mid season games. The product out there. Dylan Brooks, 22 points. Williams, 19 points, 16 points. I mean, all of their starters, except for Dunn, had over 15 points. So they really were able to just spread it around. On the other side for the Wolves, Julius Randle, 20 points. Gobert, 12 points. DiVincenzo, 9. Anthony Edwards with 41, going 5 for 11 from 3. Obviously, that kid was doing everything he could, played a full 40 minutes that game, and just wasn't able to pull it through. Both teams are 10-6, so obviously it was a really good matchup. But yeah, I'm totally with you. Triumphant moment, under a minute, able to make up those 8 points and pull out the win is insane. So to go ahead, I'm gonna have to go with Ian Machado Gary getting the win over former champion Bilal Muhammad. We saw Muhammad lose to Jack Della Maddalena. Didn't know how he was going to come back, but we do know he was on a, 17, something like that, fight win streak before that loss. So you weren't expecting him to just get rolled over. Ian Gary was hitting him with these tough shots, and he even said it in the post-fight presser. I mean, I was hitting him and hitting him, waiting for him to go down, and this guy just keeps moving forward, and that's what you can expect from a veteran like Bilal Muhammad. He's not the most exciting fighter, especially as far as big, powerful shots, but he does know how to keep a pace. He does have really great cardio, which is what ultimately got him that belt. So it was really good to see Ian Machado Gary be able to hold him off and get that unanimous decision win, especially coming off of Shavkat Rock. He came back and beat uh, Carlos Praches, and then now he's beaten Bilal Muhammad. He's making a really good contention. Um, So yeah, like I said, it's a stacked division, but he's definitely thrown his name back in the ring. And what more can you say? It's a triumphant moment to say the least. To be able to fight back from a loss when everyone's making clowning you, um, just waiting for your downfall. You got to remember this guy was undefeated before he took that first. And some guys just don't come back from that, even if it is a close fight. So again, hats off to him. Hats off to the Suns. And again, we like to hear if y'all have any triumphant moments. Please reach out to us. Let us know. We want to hear it.
Yes, sir. Backs against the wall. Everything to lose, everything to prove. We want to hear your triumphant moments.